We are pleased and honored to declare the formation of the National Uprising Movement, NUM. The People's Uprising must be protected by a People's Uprising Army, NUA. That's the army for NUM. And because the Juba regime is a bloody monster that is red in teeth and claws, it must be met by a force that is equally armed and bearing red teeth. In this regard, it is our great honor to declare the formation of the National Uprising Army, NUA.
Welcome to Jimosi podcast. It's our former Deputy Chief of Defense Forces of SPLA, which has changed now to Sspdf, as former new rebellion and a new party that want to overthrow the government of Salva Kiir, or they refer to it as Juba regime. So the name of the person, this veteran SPLA soldier, is called Wilson Deng Kuoirot Deng. His popular name that I knew of him is called Deng Wek.
Okay.
And then some people say it is also known as Deng Amocharep. Amocharep, but it's supposed to be Amocharap. I don't like when that shooting. Yeah,
shooting the Arabs.
Yes. So that's
The Mocharep, I think that's what they call
it. So that's the name of the person. This guy was a deputy chief of defense forces for SPLA from 2011 to 2013.
Okay.
And then in between he had a break. And then he was appointed an ambassador to South Africa in 2020, and he held that office from 2020 to 2023 when he was fired again.
Okay.
This gentleman is a 70-year-old person. He was born in 1955. He's from Dinkabor of Jonglei State, and his clan is Jwet clan. So part of Jale Payam, maybe the older Payam. So this guy, after he was relieved in 2013, he went ahead and formed something in 2015 called South Sudan National Olympic Committee. That was one of the things that he did during that time before he was appointed again as an ambassador in 2020. Okay. So today, he announced that he has formed his new party, and his new party is called National Uprising Movement. And then the army wing, that's the political wing. The army wing of it is called National Uprising Army.
NUM now. Hey, NUM.
Yes, NUM and NUA. Yes, so those are his two things. And before that, he had actually met with Nyal Deng Nyal, and they took a photo.
Okay.
And some of South Sudanese were actually saying, this is where he got the inspiration from.
Okay.
But he issued a document where he gave 7 reasons why he was leaving Salva Kiir government, or a reason why he was forming his rebel movement. So we are going to look at some of his reasons and see if they're genuine reason for South Sudanese. Because to him, there might be genuine reason, but to us, there might be like regular reasons, right? So we have to go through those 7 reasons.
Okay.
So can you please take us through the reasons?
Okay. So the first reason, number 1, says the first republic of our country, that is from July 9th, 2011 to December 2025, has sadly ended in failure. This failure is evident in 3 key areas. 1, economic, security, and governance. On the economy, it is self-evident that our economy is in tatters. The Juba regime has deliberately and consistently refused to embrace economic reforms as envisaged in Chapter 4 of the Revitalized Agreement on Resolution of Conflicts in the Republic of South Sudan, that is R-Axis, regarding the resource, economic, and financial management. In Articles 4.813, the agreement states that within 6 months of the transition, all loans and contracts collateralized or guaranteed against oil shall be identified, checked, and recorded for the purposes of transparency and accountability. The agreement further states in Item 7 of the same article that oil marketing system including future sales be open, transparent, and competitive, and any fraudulent dealings shall be checked and severely punished. Sadly, the regime ignored and continues to ignore all those important provisions of the agreement, preferring instead to reward crude oil cargoes or patronage circles around President Salva Kiir. As a result, the economy collapsed, inflation skyrocketed, the South Sudanese pound disappeared from circulation, and the civil service system collapsed, resulting in civil servants going for months without salaries. South Sudanese embassies abroad have been closed down, with some of them being sued in courts for non-payment of salaries and rents. This economic outlook means that poverty and despondency are spreading across the breadth and length of our country. On security, the regime did not fail to provide security for its citizens, but actually encouraged them to arm themselves against each other. The regime in Juba is the source of armament for communities, the real Qatar master corps for all the tribal militias. The regime encourages tribal militias to raid each other, abduct children, and rustle cattle, while its ill-equipped but conniving army looks on. The Juba regime only cares about its own survival and security inside Juba town rather than about the security of the whole country. A regime that has forfeited its foreign right to monopolize the use of arms does not deserve to stay in power. On governance, the regime, as it might be recalled, derives its mandate from Chapter 1 of our Axis that established the revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity, that is Artigono in 2018. Article 122 tasked the Artigono to implement the agreement and restore permanent and suitable peace, security, and stability in the country. Article 128 tasked the government to ensure prudent, transparent, and accountable management of national wealth and resources to build the nation and promote the welfare of the people. In Articles 126, the government is tasked to work closely with IGAD plus member states and organizations and other partners and friends of South Sudan to consolidate peace and stability in the country. In a blatant violation of the letter and the spirit of the agreement, the regime continued to ignore provisions of the agreement until the expiry of its duration in February 2022. Oh, wow. And in a desperate attempt to legitimize its presence, the regime resorted to a series of illegal extensions of the agreement, the latest of which was in December 2024. As if that a separation of power was not enough, the regime continues to crack down on civil liberties, depriving the citizens of their right to freedom of speech and association. The regime has arrogated to itself the right to dismiss and arrest its partners in the peace agreement. It continues to deny them any political space to operate. That's the point number one.
Yes. So for point number one, I will agree with him when it comes to the failure of the security.
Okay.
But is it something to blame only the Juba regime and exclude him out of it? I will say no. When it was the deputy chief of defense forces for operations, these are the people that hold guns. They are the people that organize and authorize any operation of the army to take place. When it was there, what did they do about cattle raiding that they talked about?
Yes.
What did they come up with when it comes to any community that go and raid another community? What mechanism, as somebody from the army, that they say this is the only neutral way of addressing this, so that when the army goes, they are not seen as coming from one side. They're just dealing with the criminal that are stealing. And this issue of cattle raiding is very common between Murle, Dinka, Nuer, and Dinka themselves. Because when you go to Barkazal...
In Jonglei, that is.
Yes. So in Jonglei, it is between Murle, Dinka, and Nuer. This is where this issue happened. So when it was the chief of defense forces for those 2 years, it should have set up anti-cattle raiding unit that will be responding to all these issues and see where to station them. It didn't do it. But is there a security failure? Yes. Is it to be blamed on the Juba regime only? No. On all of them, including him. When it comes to Barkazal, because sometimes we think the reason why cattle raiding is very rampant in Jonglei is because we have 3 groups that speak different languages. But when you go to Barkazal, these people have the same dialect, Dinka, and they all know that they are Dinkas, but they still steal from each other. This is an economic activity. It's only that people have not realized. As much as it leads to the death of other people, it is an economic activity. How do we make sure that this economic activity is done in a way that nobody think of taking other people livestock as a way of increasing their wealth? Can they do it naturally by buying more reproduction, healthy cattle, so that nobody have to steal from one another? So that one, security, I accept. Is it only for Juba regime? No. It's going to be on the 2 of them. So for security, we all agree there's a failure, which doesn't have to be blamed on one person.
And also he's talked about things to do with child abduction. That's very common among the Murle again and the Dinkas. In Jonglei state.
This is an historical issue. And it has happened for over 80 years to 70 years. So it's not something that you are going to blame the Juba regime right now for it. It has been existing. And even like when you guys were fighting Arab, it was happening. Now when you guys had the will of the power, or like you had all the powers within the government, you should have solved it. So, but they never solve it.
Actually, the only person that's kind of trying to address that issue at the moment is none other than the current
governor of Lake State, Ring
Twain. He's addressing the issues in Lake State. In Jonglei,
in Pibor, Gola Boya.
I think it's the administrative something.
Of Pibor.
It's like the equivalent of a governor in the Pibor administrative area. He has tried to reunite some kids who had been stolen or abducted by taking them back to their families. And he's kind of quite hands-on, and a lot of people are praising him for that. So if these individuals who are now coming out to say they are rebelling against the government because the government is not doing A, B, C, D, if we go back to your track record and we don't see anything that you try to do to address some of these issues you are now accusing the government of, then you're just giving us hot air.
And when it comes to the economic failure, yes, it has happened. But it's not something that sometimes when I look at it, it's not something to blame the Juba regime only. We South Sudanese, when it comes to the growing of the economy, we are not that smart in it. We are the kind of people that depend on the system that have already been built by other people. And that's why, if you look at all the refugee camps that we all went into, 90% of us were all dependent on the UN distribution. only less than 10% were able to venture into something else.
Businesses.
Yes, and do something for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you transfer the same mentality to South Sudan, these people want to rely on something.
Yeah.
And if everybody is going to rely on something, we all want jobs. And then the government themselves, the people that are having the money, don't want to diversify the economy. They will take that small money that they get from the oil and put in their own pocket, and they will not invest.
Yes.
So it's a national issue. And even like when we come to the outside world, to the Western world, we don't go into business. We are employed.
Business, like I feel most of us are risk averse.
Like sometimes people say it because we're not exposed to business or to doing other things. That's why we don't go out of our way to do anything. Or we sometimes contribute, but again, we can't blame Juba regime for that only. It's something in our system. We don't do a lot of things. And when somebody tries to do something, they either don't get support or they
get ridiculed.
Yes.
Like things to do with Raya. That thing is a business that's booming. Right now, there's a lot of people who actually sell it from Jonglei. They take it to around Congo.
Yes.
And it's a very huge business opportunity.
It's now that people have started picking on it.
But then some people who are jobless, they have families, but they don't want to take that job because you feel like it's below you. Even if you are not educated enough to get the white collar job that you feel like you should be getting, which is another thing that is affecting us. You find on the streets of Juba, it's Ugandans who are cooking chapati and selling them on the streets.
Yeah, it's the lack of entrepreneurship. Yeah. So it's not something that we can entirely put on the government. It's a failure of all of us. We don't know what we are doing when it comes to the growing of the economy.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go. For the governance, I don't have a lot of things to say there because the policies, the constitution is not followed, so we're not going to blame anybody. It's a total failure on everybody. The people blaming the government and the government themselves.
Yeah, because when it comes to government operates when all institutions are respected and there's independence of institutions. But when you find a president that is appointing almost everybody, including members of parliament, then that's a huge failure on the system itself.
Yeah.
And because these members of parliament don't have any powers, or they feel like they don't have any right to question the president whenever they go wrong. So that makes it very tricky for them to act. And you find that the president will just do some outrageous things like appoint, fire, recycle. In a matter of 1 week, he has recycled some people and nobody says anything about it. So that makes it really difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's a failure of the entire regime, not just the government or the presidency. So that's the economy, security, and governance. The second reason, he said, the failure of the regime in the critical areas of economy, security, and governance, in addition to its diplomatic failure and subsequent international isolation, are sufficient evidence to conclude that our first republic, that's from 2011 to 2025, has dismally failed. Remarkably, this failure is manifested in the fact that there is no functioning Council of Ministers now in Juba. The Kiir cabinet doesn't hold any regular meetings. It convenes on ad hoc basis at the whims of the dictator. Some ministers are in prison. Others have fled the country, while yet others are loitering aimlessly in Juba. Indeed, the cabinet captain, Mr. Salva Kiir, jumped the ship long time ago. The SSD ship is totally rudderless and shipwreck is imminent. And in the absence of a functioning executive branch of government and a functioning political party to formulate policies, important decisions affecting the people of South Sudan are now taken by a cabal of people of personal assistants and business partners around President Salva Kiir. This situation is reprehensible and unacceptable. That is why the South Sudanese people must take a drastic action to establish a free, democratic, prosperous, and well governed second republic that they deserve.
Yeah, so
It's
that
like
second point, it feel like
a
the
repetition
repetition
of
of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the thing that he's talking about, it's like putting all the blame on President Kiir and the executive, saying that the executive doesn't do regular meetings. And we've actually addressed that issue in our videos in our previous videos, right?
Yeah.
That it seems it's the president who makes all the major decisions. And like yesterday, I believe when we were talking of, there's something we were addressing in one of the videos, and you mentioned that we've never held any cabinet meeting. Or we were talking about why Nyandengdi is currently acting as
For
the
governance cluster.
VP for governance cluster. And we mentioned that since February, when Bolmel was appointed as the VP for economic cluster, up to November when he got fired, they never held any cabinet meetings. That's such a long time.
Yeah, but the question should be, is there anywhere written in the constitution that say cabinet should be meeting after every this time and this time? If it is not there, when these people were in the government, did they try to make sure that, just to make sure that the government doesn't end up not having a cabinet meeting for over 6 months, for over 3 months? Did they try to put in a constitution to make it a mandatory that monthly or bi-weekly there will be a meeting where people discuss what's going on? If none of these people have ever suggested anything, they just wait on the timeline of Salva Kiir, then they are all failures.
I agree with you. But then the thing is, I'm not sure if there's any specifications when it comes to cabinet meetings. But what I know based on other systems and what I've seen from other countries, a cabinet cannot go for more than 1 month without having at least one sitting.
Then
the same applies to the parliament.
Then that one depends with the, like, sometimes parliament depends with that one, what they want to discuss. But again, when it comes to the cabinet, it all depends with the direction of the leader of the country, where he want to take the country.
Yeah.
This is where we'll be calling people every now and then. Guys, come, what have you worked on? It has been two weeks since we last met. You, the Ministry of Energy, what are you doing for the people of South Sudan? You, the Ministry of Electricity, the Ministry of Water, this Ministry of Agriculture, what are you doing for the people of South Sudan? Last week I told you guys that you work on this project, and then next week when people meet, okay, we mentioned this, how far did you people go? Salva Kiir is not in that mood. And even people around him are not in that mood. They meet like when it seems like the country is just about to collapse.
Chaos,
This is like when they will call something to come and think about it, and then after that, everybody go back to their homes.
Because I remember, like, last year, the budget was read in November. This year again, they did it after the firing of Bolmel, and that's when they passed it. But the budget is usually due to be passed around June. So it runs from July this year to June of next year. And then by the end of June, they're supposed to come up with the budget for the next fiscal year. But they didn't do that. So how do you operate a government without a budget for more than 4 months before you convene a meeting to pass the budget?
Yeah.
Some of those things are what lead to the failures in these departments, because you end up borrowing here and there, different ministries borrowing independently, like last time when they were talking of the undersecretary in the Ministry of Petroleum asking for 1.5 and 1 billion, which was 2.5 billion in total, from date 27 to date 31 of October this year alone. And we were questioning, like, why would an undersecretary be borrowing that money? What is it for?
All right, let's go to number 3.
Yeah. So number 3 He says, in order to usher in a democratic Second Republic in a peaceful way, the current Artigonu must be dissolved. It has outlived its usefulness as well as its mandate, which expired in 2022, though illegally extended to December 2024 and yet again to December 2026. These extensions provide compelling evidence that President Salva Kiir, first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, and the other vice presidents will never ever deliver on their commitments under the R-Axis agreement. Therefore, no more time must be wasted. They must either be asked or forced to step aside. As they exit, the business of the people of South Sudan must be entrusted to a new interim government with a new chief executive officer, that is CEO, for 24 months. The new CEO will be leading a lean interim administration consisting of civilian technocrats with original hardcore SPLA officers in charge of the security sector. It is that interim government that will now be tasked with the stabilization of the economy, the security, in addition to writing the permanent constitution and preparing the country for general elections. While such an interim arrangement takes place, the current pack of signatories to R-Axis will be free to go to their constituencies to canvass for votes if they still have anything to offer to the people of South Sudan. To ensure a tranquil transition, President Kiir and first Vice President Riek Machar would be granted immunity from prosecution as long as they commit themselves to the democratic process to create a conducive atmosphere for free, fair, and credible elections. The civil population must be disarmed during the interim period. Political parties must not be allowed to retain troops and militia outfits. Concurrently, the interim administration shall seek international help in implementing Chapter 4 of the R-Axis on the resource, economic, and financial management, and in order not to create legislative and oversight vacuum during the interim period, the size of the current parliament should be reduced to the previously legally elected members only. So he's talking about having an interim government. It's like a transitional government.
And then we are going to have
again for 24 months.
We are going to have the same issue here. So I agree with some of the things that he said, but some of the other things are just total bullshit, like what has been happening. Like throwing away of the Artigonu is correct. This thing is not helpful in any way. It has lasted for over 7 years and nothing has changed in South Sudan. It's like when we got the CPA in 2005 to 2011, at least we got independence. And that was 6 years. Now with the Artigonu or R-Axis, we have it for 7 years and nothing is happening. That simply means we continue with the same thing. Nothing will happen. The same input, the same output, it will never change anything.
And remember last time we were talking about the length. You said this thing of having 2 years extension is too long.
It's too long. 6 months should have been for that peace agreement, and then we deal with the rest as we go ahead.
Now he's talking of another government, like an interim government with the SPLA, original SPLA forces taking the mantle, no militias, no inter-party armies. It's like he wants all the armies to be integrated. For 2 years again.
The old SPLA, don't they grow old? They're not there. They've already grown old and some of them have died, some of them have left. We can't do the same thing. Like that Tigonu, it should be thrown away. I totally agree with that. But we need this election. We don't need another interim government to be elected. And I totally disagree with him where he said a CEO will handle this government.
Chief Executive Officer.
Never accept such kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
like a recipe for tyranny.
this is no,
or
it's not even that.
dictatorship.
No, it's not even that. This is what happened in Sudan.
Okay.
When uprising happened and Omar Bashir was thrown out, they say that they want somebody like a CEO and a group of technocrat, people from different fields to come together.
Like with specialization.
Yes, for interim period so that the next government happen. What happened after a few months? The soldiers overthrew that bullshit. And then they took over it. And then another group of soldiers fighting this one. Now Sudan is in a full-scale war.
Yeah.
If
for
we
the
do
last couple of years.
Yeah, so we do the same bullshit that is suggesting here, South Sudan is going to fight. Because South Sudanese, we have never been united. You will see a group of individuals will say the CEO is not from our community.
True.
And we are being marginalized again. They will go form themselves and come fight your CEO. The same thing will happen. And when it talk of the immunity for Riek Machar and
President
Kiir, so that nobody goes after them. These people, they don't need immunity. No one will go after them. The reason why nobody will go after them is because we are all subdivided into our own communities.
Yeah.
If anybody try to go after Salva Kiir, his sub-clan members in Awanichan will take up their arms and fight you.
Yeah.
The same thing to Riek Machar. His sub-clan or his Nuer community members will take up and fight you, the person that is trying to pursue them. So giving them immunity is just waste of time. They don't need immunity because nobody will go after them. They have a community to fight for them.
Yeah. And
So
also,
it's total waste of time.
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of not understanding like the kind of person he wants us to have as the CEO for those 24 months. Is this person going to come from the same liberators, in quotes, the SPLM, or from where? Because these people are a bunch of the same,
And then
like
even
birds of the same feather.
when it comes to the CEO, we don't have right businessmen in South Sudan that have established a lot of big businesses where we can say, oh, now so and so has the qualities of a CEO.
Of a good leader.
No, none of this person has any of such. So we're going to select another failed SPLM, SPLA veteran. He's going to do the same shit again. Even like if these people forming the same rebellion, if we take one of them, they will not fix this South Sudan.
Yeah.
South Sudan is too fragile for any of them to fix.
I
don't know why they don't understand.
Individual. No, I just feel like these people, they think because they are the liberators, they know more about the country. But they don't get that they are not exposed, first of all, and they still think in the old ways of how to address things. And they are too insecure to allow the new generation to take over because they feel like as individuals who fought for the country, they need to reap the benefits of liberation. And that's how they ended up corrupting the country dry. Most of these people, no one can say they can defend themselves that they have not engaged
Looted
in corruption.
anything. Yeah.
Yes. So it's only that when they get out of the government and their pockets start drying up, that's when they start speaking. But when they were inside, what were they doing?
Yeah, let's go to reason number 4. We're going to put that one as the last wrap up.
Okay, so number 4, the task of asking or forcing President Kiir and first Vice President Riek Machar to step aside must be initiated and led by the people of South Sudan themselves. And of course, with the help of our region and international community. The various constituents of South Sudan, of the South Sudanese society, including statesmen, elders, parliamentarians, academics, clergy, retired generals, liberal war veterans, senior SPLM leaders, traditional chiefs, women and youth groups, and the civil society organizations should all step forward in unison to ask President Kiir and first Vice President Machar to resign. Our own sociocultural history is awash with instances when traditional chiefs were unseated for the general good of the society. That great tradition of peacefully asking leaders to abdicate must be leveraged. Like a Jiang chief of the olden days, Kiir should do the most honorable and conscionable thing, resign.
This guy keep repeating the same points. He say it in this point, and then when go to the next point, repeat what he said earlier. Because he mentioned about the immunity of this Salva Kiir and kind of things.
No, now he wants people to ask them or force them out. So remember in point 3, I was asking, so who's that CEO who's going to take over? Right now, it's like he wants people to have an uprising. And this uprising should involve everybody.
This is the same
This is
thing
like telling people they need to go to war.
this is what happened in Sudan.
Yeah.
And it has not served them better. Yes, it helped the removal of Omar al-Bashir, but do they have peace right now? Where are they? They are in the south. They are in Egypt. They are in the neighboring countries looking for shelter. So it's not a good thing. I don't know why they don't think beyond what they say. I totally agree with them. If there was a way to dialogue these two individuals to get out of power, I'm okay with that. But will it happen? No, there's no way that is going to happen. Because
it will lead to another bloodshed.
Yes, because when a group of you come and say, oh, those of Salva Kiir need to go because of this reason and this reason, there's another group that are benefiting from the leadership of Riek Machar and Salva Kiir that will form their own group and oppose what you people are saying.
True.
So what we are supposed to do is the election. We can remove these people through election. One of them is forming a party. If South Sudanese are so united
and tired
of Salva Kiir and Riek Machar, why are we not leaving them with their parties? We leave Salva Kiir with his SPLM. We leave Riek Machar with his SPLM-IO and say, you people have it. Here is our party as people of South Sudan. Let's go to that 2026 election that you people have been talking about. We go to that election and we defeat them. We defeat them
by electing
somebody new, so that we leave them with the SPLM-IO has failed. Nobody has voted for them. SPLM, nobody has voted for them.
True.
Now we have changed the leadership and we have removed them from the position of power.
In a legitimate way.
In a legitimate way that people will know. People went for votes. And there was no military alliance for anybody. So this person has taken power.
Yeah, so it will be very hard for them to cling on to power or say anything.
Yes. But just saying uprising with no real leader it will never happen.
No, this is like you are trying to position yourself in a leadership position, but doing it indirectly. Such that you are saying this is something that will be done by the people. And then when the people go for that uprising, you are the one who's going to lead them.
No.
And if your track record doesn't show a series of proper leadership, then what are you going to do at 70? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And this is why people end up losing their lives, because some of these people who organize such uprisings and stuff, they don't end up dying because they don't take up the bullets and guns. It's other people who end up in the front line and then they go to exile. And they only come in when it's time to take over the leadership, which is unfair.
Yeah.
Number 5, right?
Yeah.
In the event that President Kiir refuses what his people are asking of him, then the process of forcing him out of office becomes inevitable. That eventuality will necessitate the launch of a nationwide people's uprising or intifada. This is Arabic. To steer the people's uprising towards its lofty goals. We are pleased and honored to declare the formation of the National Uprising Movement, NUM. The People's Uprising must be protected by a People's Uprising Army, NUA. That's the army for NUM. And because the Juba regime is a bloody monster that is red in teeth and claws, It must be met by a force that is equally armed and bearing red teeth. In this regard, it is our great honor to declare the formation of the National Uprising Army, NUA. The NUA stroke M, no, the NUM stroke A, that is the movement and the army,
Yeah.
will champion the cause of the South Sudanese people for democratic change. There's no any other way to topple the Juba dictator except through an armed intifada. History has taught us that the dictators are not talked out of power, they are forcibly walked down to the dustbin of history. This was how Idi Amin of Uganda, Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire, and more recently, Omar al Bashir of Sudan, and more others were removed from power. So you see, he's now starting to speak.
He's giving us
He's
not a good
party-
example of what happened.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Uganda, yes, Museveni came and created stability. But how long has he ruled? Over 40 years,
Yeah.
since 1986, 41 now. So if we are going to have the same thing from your NUM, another leadership for 40 years, then it's useless, right? These are not good examples.
Yes.
And if you talk of Omar al-Bashir, yes, has been removed. Where is Sudan now? Sudan is fighting. And why do we need to fight again? We have already fought for long, since 1950 something.
56.
Now you want us to fight in 2025 again? Okay, we're starting 2026 in 3 days' time. You want us to fight again another? No, it's bullshit, man. Like, I don't totally agree with this suggestion of DS that people must fight. No, people must not fight. You people are not campaigning. You just issue a small document like this with no resolution or no possible ways of things to do other than blaming other people.
Yeah.
Like, if it was take over the leadership and be told to use that document to rule South Sudan, it will not do anything because what it has presented does not fix the issues of South Sudan.
Yeah, there are no plausible solutions.
There are no solution recommended in what he's saying. It's just talking of people being removed from power. But what will be done to institution, everything, to make sure that everything runs? They don't talk about it.
Maybe
so that
we'll talk about it in number 6 and 7.
No, after this release is going to get lost like Nyal Deng Nyal.
Yeah, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, to be honest, this is the same thing that we've been saying, that these individuals only come up to talk of. And I actually think there are so many things that he repeated from what Nyal talked about.
Yeah,
that
the
people's
uprising.
uprising, and that it has to be people led, and that the people, it's like the government should not touch the people. Where are these people who are going to do the uprising? South Sudanese are tired of war. Their kids, you will find that some of these families have never lost even a single child.
Yeah, from war.
Yes.
They're here telling people to
And
go
they
for
have survived.
rebellion. No.
Because they were not actively engaged. And then now they want other people's children to go and fight for them. Then they take over the power.
Why do a 70-year-old want to send you to war? You are a 20-year-old. You have 50 years to live.
To get to their age.
To reach their age and live more years again. Them, they don't have that luxury of time. So what? No, it's bullshit. Like, if you're a young person,
very selfish
think twice.
to me. Yeah. Why did it take them this long for them to now come and see how bad the SPLM is? This guy just left the government not long ago.
What, 2 years and he's already broke and he's here telling how to remove the government.
The gang of relatives and Sspdf defense forces.
No, the thing is, he was in that government in 2023, in 2022. Why didn't he go to J1? Why didn't he go to J1 and talk with President Kiir'S, an ambassador? Tell him, this is how we want to do this. This is how we want to do this. You only talk when you are out of the government? No, it's bullshit.
It kind of comes out, it rubs me the wrong way when I see these people speaking of what should be done when they are outside. Why were you not doing those things when you still had the positions?
And it's the same thing that we have all learned. Even the people that are in the government right now, they're waiting to be fired so that they can come and talk about the failures of that government.
Mm-hmm.
But so long as they are in the government is good.
Yeah.
So they are all the same.
And they
Either
are
you
not
are
doing
inside,
anything.
you are outside,
Mm-hmm.
but of the same feathers.
Yeah, and also like if you look at how he was referencing the Idi Amin being removed, and that is Uganda improved.
He's
Is
using
it
bad
developed?
example.
Uganda
No.
is not developed.
And Congo is always
Yeah.
fighting. So you can't give us bad example of countries that are not
Sudan,
moving.
yes, Omar was removed, but is it better than when Omar was in power?
Mhm.
Or has
Everything has now in ruins. So
Yeah.
sometimes they should think of example to give. They should have give Kenya as an example.
Mhm.
They forgot.
Tell us about Moi, how he was ejected.
Removed from power.
And that was
through
not
politi-
through an uprising,
Yes, it was through political.
through elections.
Yes.
So why are they not choosing that thing? This is what I keep on saying. Like these SPLA liberators think that the only solution to the problems of South Sudan is civil
fighting.
war.
Yes.
They don't think outside the box or anything that is unfamiliar with them. Right now we have elections. People go into elections and elect the leaders of their choice. Just form your own party. Tell us what you are coming to do as a political party. We will excuse your age and see if you are giving us proper solutions to our current mess. Then we'll go with it and we might give you a chance. But telling us that you need an uprising, none of your children is going to fight in that war, and then innocent people are going to lose their lives, that's not a solution to me.
Yeah. Go to number 6.
Number 6, with the birth of the National Uprising Movement, stroke army, all patriotic and nationalistic elements within the South Sudan's Defense Forces SSPDF, the former combatants of the SPLA, in addition to the SPLA stroke IO, SAO, Agwelek, NAS, Abushok, and any other armed groups in South Sudan are strongly urged to join hands with the National Uprising Army to achieve the overriding objective of overthrowing the government regime in Juba.
No.
This is not possible.
Yeah, this is a bad suggestion. You should just stick with him in his family. This is not a good suggestion because all these rebel group, when brought together, they are still going to struggle for the leadership, and they will even fight among themselves. Why do you want to change this leadership through a gunfight? And we have election next year. Why are we not saying that let's come together, form a good party, and win the election in 2026? Why do you want people to fight? That's my question.
Yeah,
No.
also it doesn't make sense because if you look at these forces that he's mentioning, they were supposed to be unified as per the revitalized peace agreement. If that document did not unify all these forces, then how is it going to happen naturally that you are strongly urging them to join hands?
And
that cannot happen.
Did you see that he intentionally left out SPLM-IO and the White Army?
No, he said, and the SPLA-IO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's only the White Army.
White Army and the Red Belt movement have not been mentioned. Yeah, but still, like, it's not...
All these suggestions will not work. Yeah. I don't know why sometimes I feel like I think better than them. Because sometimes I feel like when it comes to the army, let's say the police right now, there's no complaint when it comes to police. No one has made any complaint.
Yeah.
Let's talk of the army. If all these people, we have actually understand that there's a big issue here. We sent everybody home. And then we recruit afresh. The people that have served for the longest time, they need a package to go home.
Yeah.
The young people that will come back for the new recruit, we start with them. And we do a nationwide recruitment. We go to all the counties so that these other people will say, oh, everyone was sent home, and then they go to a specific region to recruit SSPDF only for these communities. No, you now say every community we are going to recruit 1,000 or even this number. We make it a small army because we are not fighting any external war.
Yeah.
And then you make sure that this army that you are going to recruit is going to have everything. From the place of stay, their families will be okay, their salaries will be on time. It will even be purpose for one to be a rebel. Because when you look at the National Army, how they're living a better life than you will be. So, yeah, these uprising, people come, it will never work. Waste of time and resources.
Okay, number 7. Finally, to our gallant people of South Sudan, we have this to say. It is such a shame that you have never known peace and stability for 41 years. That is 21 years of the liberation struggle between 1983 to 2005, plus 20 years of misgovernment and misgovernance under Salva Kiir, 2005 to 2025. So, to ask you again to support a new phase of the struggle as you did during the first 21 years might seem to be too much asking. Nevertheless, we are vindicated by the brutal truth that your own country has been hijacked. Your very own future and that of your children has been mortgaged in billions of dollars as loans accumulated by the Juba regime. Your own oil and mineral wealth have been turned into personal wealth by the Juba regime leaders and their families. In short, the promise of the total liberation for which we fought so hard remains unfulfilled. Poverty, hunger, and disease will continue to sleep with you in your own rooms and to schools if you do nothing to change the regime in Juba. Give me a second.
Yeah. There was a repetition. There you go down a little bit.
Yeah, to change the regime in Juba. There is no freedom without price. There is certainly a price to be paid during this round of uprising, but in the end, you will win. You are always a winner. You have always been. May God bless the people of South Sudan. Victory to the gallant uprising of the people of South Sudan. Signed for and on behalf of the group by General Wilson Deng Kuoirot, former Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, South Sudan Defense Forces SSPDF, former Ambassador of South Sudan to the Republic of South Africa, and it's from day 28,
today.
December 2025.
Sometimes like you want to uprise against the government, but you're using the title that you got from that government. Is it not ironical? You are using those titles to make you look important. Otherwise, if you just leave them out, then you are not anybody. And then now you are going to come with your own party that is going to come to overthrow this government where you are claiming the title from. No. South Sudan is a country. If you have been able to be ambassador for 3 years, then why do you want to overthrow the whole thing again so that we go into the bush? Why are you not forming a political party so that we leave out the army part? When South Sudan will be totally upset with the whole country, they will organize themselves with no armed movement being formed by anybody.
Even without the support of politicians,
yes.
It's just going to be
the citizen will just come out on their own.
Like the Gen Zs of Kenya.
Yes. And then they will say, no, we are not getting back until these issues are fixed. But this issue of saying, oh, I have an army now, I have a party, we're going to do uprising. No, uprising do not work like that.
They actually don't even have an army and they don't have a party. They just have the names.
They will take Red Bell.
And then they are strongly urging these different forces and some forces from within the SSPDF that side with the people or that have seen the injustice being done by the government to join them. obviously the government is going to consider them as rebels.
Well, they're already rebel. There's going to be a big fight
so
here.
it's just going to be a mess.
Yeah.
This is, that's why I say, like, these people only think of war as the only solution to everything. And that's not the case. We are now in the 21st century. Yeah. In 2025, no one should be thinking of going to fight for liberation. Just do it the civil way.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we have elections next year, then we should continue. This person was an ambassador between 2022 and
2020 and 2023.
Right? And then right now he's talking about how the revitalized peace agreement expired in 2022, but he was still serving under the same transitional government. He did not see it at that time that this government was illegitimate.
These all individual hold double standards. None of them is clean. Salva Kiir is not good. Riek Machar is not good. All these rebel leaders forming their own parties, Nial Deng Nial, Wilson, Deng Kuoirot, which is Deng Wek, Paul Malongawan, all these people, they have all sat in that same government, made decisions that did not benefit South Sudanese. Why do they think all of a sudden now they're going to be good people? They are not good people. Regardless, no, I don't know if other South Sudanese also think that way. Because these people should always sit down and say, all these people sat down at one point in that government, made decisions that did not favor South Sudan.
Yeah.
And they're all here now calling out each other saying, oh, that person is bad, this person is bad. In my eye as a regular citizen, I see all of you are all the same, bird of the same feathers.
Yeah.
You guys are all bad. None of you is better. You did nothing while holding positions. So coming here to tell us nonsense is bullshit.
Yeah, and if you look at that document, actually, the only two individuals he's targeting are Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. As much as he's talking of the Juba regime in this case, or in most of these people's talks, usually refers to President Kiir. So, like, to me, it doesn't really make sense. Because the entire government is a mess.
Yeah.
Just bring us your political party and come out properly as
recruit political
candidate.
Yeah, recruit political members. Stop this idea of
and we will vote for you if you have a good manifesto.
No.
Yeah, but then this thing of telling people's children to go to war.
Sometimes I think they see it as an easy way of getting back to the government. So they see when they form this thing, Salva Kiir will now think of, these people are going to fight. Let us have a dialogue and give them some position. This is why all these people are forming all this.
Yeah.
And then there will be a group of people, when it is time for position to be handed out, that will be closer to them and join them, and then they'll be given something in return.
And they keep quiet.
And then we're going to have a big government that they're not able to sustain.
Unsustainable.
They're all the same. None of them is going to fix South Sudanese issue.
Yeah, actually, before we started recording this video, you remember what I said earlier about these individuals, how they go to the bush and then they get called back. And I remember that last time during one of those series of interviews that Nial Deng Nial did, he was asked one specific question, that now that you are forming the SSM, if the government of South Sudan calls you, if President Kiir's administration calls you for a negotiation, are you going to go back? Because his thing was to freeze his membership in the SPLM and form the vehicle to reform the SPLM from outside. Then he said, yeah, we are going to talk. And so these people actually want positions. It's not like they want to make any changes for the citizens.
Yeah.
Because if they were really interested in changing the situation of the citizens, they would have started doing those things when they still had positions of power. They would not have waited until they were out of government for them to now start thinking afresh. And then this is just another way of wanting to go back into the government, get the positions, because they have learned that this thing is about rebelling, and then you are called back. You have a dialogue, you get your positions, give a few of your members some positions, and then you just have like an oversized government, which is not sustainable.
Yeah, but nowadays, since the leader of the country is a Dinka, any Dinka-led rebellion does not work.
Why is that so, though?
It's because Dinka is divided. So you see, there's a Dinka that is benefiting, and there's this Dinka that say they are being excluded from power sharing and such kind of things. So when they try something, these Dinka that are eating will say, no, you people want to destroy our food on the table. We can't allow that. And then they will use a maximum force on you. And then also the Dinkas will, not a lot of Dinkas are so committed in fighting against another Dinka in the name of power. Yeah. So the government will end up killing this rebel leader. And then the life move on. Yeah. But if it was something to be a community with a community, take for example the way that the Nuer thing always happened. If it happened to be Nuer, then all the Nuer goes and say, oh, it's Dinka is bad, and then they come back as one group. But if it was within Nuer, take for example, the leadership of the country belonged to a Nuer at that point, and then a group of Nuer are saying, no, this Riek Machar government or whoever there will be leader at that point, Taban Dengai government is bad. Let us fight against it. The Nuer that are in that government will fight those Nuer, and those Nuer will not go anywhere. Yeah. So this, like every time, like I see Dinka name, people saying they are going to form some uprising and what, I don't see them going anywhere. Yeah. Because the government is being led by a Dinka, with some Dinkas enjoying those privileges. Yeah, and also like that actually makes sense, because if you look at the other tribes, they will not join the Dinka rebels because they'll say, I agree with you that any Dinka uprising or rebellion cannot succeed simply because these other tribes will not support the Dinkas, because the current government is led by the Dinkas and they already feel marginalized, especially if you look at the Nuers, the Equatorians, like that. So they'll question, what is in need for us if we support this Dinka rebellion? How different is it going to be from the current government? Yes. Yeah, and for that reason, you just find that everyone would sideline you, and then you go on with your thing. If you succeed or not, then it's on you. And it's going to be Dinka versus Dinka. So that thing makes it very difficult for these uprisings or the movements to succeed. Yes. Yeah. All right, so that's it for Jimosi podcast. Please let us know if any of these uprising and the formation of the armies will actually work in South Sudan politics, and if it will actually fix any of these issues that's happening. Like we have already said, that all these individuals sat in that government, made their own decisions that did not help the citizens of South Sudan, fall out with the government, or they got fired because they were getting age, right? They got old. They are all over 70. Then they are out of government. Now this is when they are seeing a lot of issues with the government. Then they want your children to fight. Personally, like if I know any relative of mine, I'll tell them, never join any of these fighting. Yeah. Let us go to the neighboring country. Whenever they have finished killing one another, we'll come back. This is also bullshit. Do you support these uprisings? Like, do you think they are a good idea, or there's a better way of addressing the current issues within the country? Yes. Without involving armed opposition? Yes. Yeah. Of which our main suggestion, we had already said, is a formation of political party campaign, so that most South Sudanese join you, but not an uprising army. And then when people go for election, people will neglect the SPLM and the SPLM and they vote for your party because it's a popular party. They need to overthrow the two leaders that you are talking about. Yes. And now you take over the leadership, but you don't want to do that. You want to fight. Too old to fight. Yeah. Also, like, what's your suggestion? Like, what's your take on these individuals who are very quiet within the government, and then once they are out there 2, 3, 10 years down the line,
they want to come out and speak of how bad the government is. Yet when they held those positions, they never did anything to solve some of the issues that they are now pointing out as failures of the government.
Yeah.
If you have not subscribed, this is your green light to do so. Please take us to 4,000 subscribers and see you in the next video.
Yes.
It's still a Merry Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. The last rebellion before the end of 2025. Like we had actually covered like
the major events.
Yes, and then now the last thing is here.